Hey, what's going on, family? It's your girl, P. Koffe Brown here in the great state of Texas by way of Houston. And I have come across a unique way for you to turn your phone into a well-oiled money-making machine with just a few clicks of a few buttons from learning a skill set that will not only pay you today, but it will pay you for life. If you want to know more information about how you can participate in our community and start learning today and earning while you're learning, you can literally take 1 to 2 hours a day to eliminate the 8 to 10 hours you're giving to somebody else. Listen, hit me up. Let me know you're open and interested. I'd love to share with you what we're doing and how it can be a blessing to you and your family. Do not wait. Start making this thing pay you. Let the phone pay for itself, family. Love you guys. Enjoy the balance of the day. Peace. And don't forget, comment TNT. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the P. Koffe Brown Show. I'm here with the usual suspects. Well, not all usual, but some of the usual suspects. And super excited to be in the building. We have an incredible conversation for you. And, but first, before we jump into it, we've got to talk about what's going on in the news. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about it. Educators have gone back to their classrooms and getting prepared and geared up for this school year, and are already attempting to come up with plans and strategies to be able to support the children who will not have adequate food during the school hours. So they're already coming up with strategies and ideas on how they're going to support those students. It's terribly unfortunate that, that's something that they have to even address. However, it's where we are as a nation right now. And I don't know. It's going to be an interesting year for sure for the students and the families. It's going to definitely be an interesting school year. And secondly, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday, interesting news came out where allegedly, quote unquote, Donald Trump talked about firing Powell. And later on in the day, it came out that was not true. It was not true. He did not say that he was going to fire Powell, but it kind of had me thinking, I wonder what he really did say. Didn't come back any further than that, but it was on the CBS News is the one that reported it digitally. And I was just sitting there going, I know he said something, but they kind of tried to downplay it later on when he gave a statement saying that he did not say that. So many things are going on in our country that is just bananas right now. The situation here in Texas with all of the loss of life, there has still not been any relief from FEMA. The Red Cross hasn't been on deck, but just a little bit of support. And it's just ongoing. There's still a lot of people who are still missing. This has been 2 weeks already, and there's still quite a few people that are not accounted for, even now. I was watching a segment with one of the guys who lost his wife and his boys and still cannot find his daughter. They were all trying to float on the house, and his wife ended up kind of sliding off some kind of way, he was saying. And shortly thereafter, while he was trying to grab the boys, how they was trying to hold on to each other, they both ended up falling into the water, and he wasn't able to get down to attempt, because he would have got swept away. He was like, it was no way for me to even try to pull them back. I would have got swept away right with them. And it was just so sad to hear that. And he was just talking about how nobody has come to the aid yet. He was like, I'm still outside. It's been all these days and I'm literally still outside. Just trying to figure out what in the world I'm supposed to do now. It's just so unfortunate and it's crazy. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, has anybody heard the president say anything about this situation? Has he said anything?
I
I
haven't
haven't
heard
seen
anything.
anywhere where he
I
said
haven't
anything.
heard anything.
I haven't seen anywhere. And this, I think this is in as long as I've been alive, I've never seen a president that did not address this is a national disaster. It really is.
Right.
You're talking about over 100 souls were lost in that situation.
I think that is really sad that even us today have to sit on the platform and speak about education and national disasters. Like, we shouldn't, if we speak about it, it should be more so just, sending prayers and comfort. But for us to have to sit here and talk about how we're in a time where education teachers and different people in the education field have to make the decisions for the students, where this should be automatic. They shouldn't have to do this. It should
Correct.
be a system laid out. And then for us to have things that are out of our control happen and no relief, no help, no support system, no recognition, nothing to help them in their time. What is going on?
We're
It's
becoming more and more inhumane. We're becoming more and
yeah,
more.
yeah. We're
Absolutely.
totally desensitized to it at all.
Mm.
We're
Making
yeah,
America great again, but what is the action that is making America great again?
correct.
How are we becoming greater?
How long at this time?
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
See no progress.
yeah, yeah. And define what great means.
Right. What
Let's
should
let's
I
let's
feel?
let's get a definition of what great actually means.
Yeah.
What
Hmm.
is it? What does that term mean, and how do we execute it to make it a reality? How do we have impact and change and transformation that speaks to every class of citizens, not just this class or that class. We're all in the same race. I've been saying this for years. It's the human race. We're all in the same exact race. It's no other different race. We're all in the same race.
And we
Which
see
leads
more when things like this happen.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And it's definitely a time that we should be coming together. We're going to be sending support, and we're going to be sending people down to actually physically go down and help. As many, foot soldiers as we possibly can in our community. We're going to send them there to be on the ground to do as much as they can to help and support and give aid, because that's crazy. We've had to deal with this a lot, and in that area it's much more remote. So it's not like it's a major metropolitan city to where, everybody can just hover around, because it's so remote, and it's still very dangerous right now to be in that area with everything being the way that it is. So,
I'm sure.
it's a lot of safety involved in that. You can't just go in and say, "Oh, I'm going to help." You got to figure out, how to take make sure you're safe while you're adding value to somebody else, for sure.
And this is why our
Should have
military
been there. Yeah. The National Guard should have been down there for sure.
have the ability to be in the helicopter and drop, rescue
Yeah.
things.
That's
Things-
very true.
What are we
Yeah.
doing? What are we
Facts. Facts
And
all
what
day.
about the rumors of like the people coming over the border from Mexico to help out and stuff, and then like the ICE agents are trying to round them up and keep them from helping?
Now
So
that's
our
Yep.
own
that's
FEMA's
crazy.
not helping and stuff, but you got people from another country that our current sitting president is saying they have no respect for and don't want here, that's actually coming over here to help the people who don't want them,
Yeah.
That's retarded.
just for the ICE agents to sit here and try to round them up.
That
And
is
then on a flip
crazy.
note, you got tow trucks now that are following ICE agent people around, I heard. And every time they park their vans and trucks and jump out and try to grab people, the tow truck drivers are snatching the trucks because they're parking illegally.
Oh
Mhm.
my
I've
gosh.
seen that reported a couple of times. So
Oh my
kudos,
gosh.
kudos to the tow truck drivers that are doing that because they parked illegally. It does not matter. You picked it up, you took it to your tow yard. They owe you money.
We are really wilding out for real. We wilding out on a whole nother level of wild out.
But you know what? That's
Seriously.
good though, because you already doing a disservice to these people by how you're treating them. So guess
Right.
what? You need a little inconveniencing yourself.
Yeah.
But
Bring your
I heard something today with my employer. They have this huge, um, event where they're now going over discussing this big beautiful bill, whatever it is. I'm confused on the name still. Why? But so we were just talking about information that we have found out in this event. And I was a little puzzled because in this event, they're talking about how they want employers to help those who are not citizens become citizens to keep them working. So is he sending
Oh,
them back?
slavery.
What? Yeah, like what is
You got
going
to
on?
sponsor somebody and you have to be responsible for them and make sure they're eating and everything else. You're responsible for
Yeah,
them being
sounds
on
like
your land and working here. That sounds
Very
exactly like
interesting.
sharecropping and slavery.
So is this the beautiful part? What's beautiful?
that's the
What
big
is
beautiful bill.
Okay? What's beautiful about that? Because
That
I
is
I got a little
scary.
confused about that. But yeah,
Let's
they're
make
they're
America great.
asking employers, let's get our employees, if they're not citizens, let's help them
That
come.
sounds like some
Yeah, gonna say it.
What does it sound
You know
like to
that
what?
y'all?
sounds like
Same
some
thing.
Django stuff.
Thank you.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was thinking about something,
That's
and
not good.
this
I'm
is
glad that
what
we all think the same because I was like, huh?
Jeez.
this what was strange to me. Now, these people didn't just get over here. You
Mm-mm.
knew they were here.
Fact.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? Just like you want to round these people up, all these people who had a large number of these illegals there, they need to be brought up on charges and fined as well. You knew they were illegal.
Yep,
Yeah.
because you were harboring illegals.
Guess what?
Yep. Yep.
Sounds to me like you're stealing.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
were
that's
harboring
crazy.
illegals. Yep, that's illegal.
Yeah. And it's
That's
some of your
crazy.
big name companies. We're not going to say those names, but you know who you are.
Yeah,
Exactly.
don't call people out now. Don't do that now.
Hey, I didn't say
But
no
yeah.
names. I said some of your big companies. That could be anybody.
Facts all day.
Yeah.
But this leads us into our discussion
Let's talk.
for the next couple of weeks.
Get it.
Man, this is I'm so excited about this topic. We have topics developed for a very long period of time, considering we have this show and we have to have everything already set and ready to go. But this one, it kind of hit a little bit differently. Leadership begins at home, raising the next generation with vision. Leadership does not start in the boardroom, it starts in the living room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was like, ooh, that's heavy when you really start to think about, leadership. Like, we always look at leadership from, well, not we, people in general look at leadership from an adult perspective, the
Yeah.
traditional work or collegiate institutions or some type of law enforcement and or different things like that, our public service individuals and different, Fortune 500 business owners and so on and so forth, and philanthropists and this person and that person. We look at that as leadership, and we don't stop to think about the fact that the real leadership development starts when that tiny human comes into the earth. What are we teaching our children when they first get here? What are we instilling in them? And home is the first leadership school. It's the first
Mm-hmm.
school of leadership. It's the first school where you're taught certain disciplines, or we hope that you're taught certain disciplines. And for those of my fellow educators who have been in classrooms, we have seen, some tiny humans who not necessarily receive those disciplines at home, and we attempt to impute certain aspects of it, and it just don't work out in the classroom because it's almost too late. I took a psychology class, a few of them, when I was in my master's studies. And I know Dr. Shamika, she'll be speaking to this a little bit later on in this segment, but when I was taking those classes, it was a lot of early childhood development information that I had to ingest. And a lot of it talked about that first 7 years and what happens with the brain and what happens with the mind and the child's ability, the cognitive processes, and all of the things that happen with that baby from the time they come out of the womb until they're about 7 years old, and how they just receive, 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 receive. And what downloads are they receiving? Because they're going to eventually regurgitate what they've been receiving that first 7 years. And it was very, very interesting. It was a lot of information, but it was really interesting. And one thing that stuck out to me was that it talked about, if you really don't begin discipline with a child, and I'm not talking about punishment. Punishment and discipline are two different things. If you don't start discipline with a child when they first come out of the womb, it is a strong possibility that that child will struggle later on in some way, shape, or form with addressing leadership, having to deal with living within the ability to be in restricted areas or restricted things. They'll be challenged with attempting to stay within the confines of what they have to stay within in order to um, meet the expectations of whatever organization they have to be involved in. They have a hard time with structured sports and different things like that. So they just have a whole lot of issues with having to be within the confines of structure, ultimately. So let me ask you guys, when we start off with this, I want to talk about a few things. What ways do you guys think that children learn from observation versus instruction? What were some ways that you were able to really teach your children from them observing you versus you instructing them? What were some of the main things?
I think that for me, my understanding learning styles, even from a toddler to 7 years old, if you observe your own child, you understand how they take to instructions and how they take to you showing them different things. My youngest daughter, she will literally hear you say something and she can get it and go. My oldest daughter, she's more so hands-on. She had to see you do it and do it herself. And I have both of those learning styles too. I'm a visual person. I like to actually do it myself because I learn better when I practice whatever I'm learning. So understanding children's learning styles and helping them in different ways of learning as they develop can help them understand the way that they learn better. So me speaking to my children is one way, and me showing them and letting them be hands-on is another way. So I practice both. So they know by me telling them, and they know by them doing it. So now you don't have an excuse. I told you, and I showed you how to do it.
Facts.
Right? Yeah,
Facts.
that's
Facts.
my way.
Yeah, I like that. Jason, I know that with you having two daughters and, actually not having a son at home, I know leading has been different from you for you as far as, I got to lead these young ladies. So speak to that. What did leading at home look like for you, being, a dad of all females?
Well, I mean, for one, you got to put the action behind the words. So, like Depriya was saying, I mean, yes, they definitely learn differently. Both of them, each of them did learn differently. But I also didn't really sugarcoat a lot of stuff. They are my princesses, but I didn't raise them to be princesses. if that makes sense. So basically, I showed them respect. I showed their mother respect. I talked to them about respect and how they should expect for the young men to respect them, and how to demand that respect, as a lady, not necessarily coming in there like a wrecking ball, right? And the main thing I talk to them about is their posture. How they carry themselves will determine how a lot of these young men actually approach them. So if they carry themselves anything less than ladylike, then of course they're going to probably get approached like a garden tool. If they dress like a garden tool and they're out in certain areas, then they're most likely that's how they're going to get addressed, right? And and then one of the main things that I would talk to them about, especially my college age daughter, is that you need to understand that when you dress like everybody else, if they're scantily clad or whatever else, there's not anything wrong with it, but just understand what comes with it. If you go out to a party or something like that in college and you're dressed doing there like everybody else, how does a man distinguish whether you are a garden tool or an actual lady?
Jeez.
So if you don't stand out in some kind of way by the way that you carry yourself and you're just following trends, then you become a part of said trend.
Absolutely.
And you get approached that way, right? So, I mean, I had realistic conversations with them. I mean, I didn't sugarcoat it. I didn't hold back any punches when I told them exactly what it was. And that goes for the 15-year-old or the 20-year-old. But I also showed them in actions. I've been out places. They seen me approach people and handle business certain types of ways when people get a little sideways with me and everything else. So, I mean, you lead by example. You got to put the action behind it.
Who he said the garden tool ministries.
That's what he said.
Hey, I watched my
Listen,
mouth this time. I thought I was being very PC.
you did good. You did very
Okay,
good.
I'm about to say, I thought I'd be in
You
PC.
did very good.
And
Let
I
me
like to
ask you.
piggyback on that.
Go ahead.
First statement that I thought about is practice what you're preaching.
Yeah.
Of course, we're saying these things, but we need to put in practice what we're teaching them. What we're saying out of our mouths need to line up with the actions that we're taking. And then to
Mm-hmm.
go further, when I think about leadership, I'm thinking about, you don't stand out. If you just following the crowd, you following what everybody else is doing, how does anybody in, not just a man, but in leadership roles, you can meet a CEO, anybody, and they all looking at you too, like, hey, you may know everything, but because of the way you
Mm-hmm.
present yourself, they won't treat you any differently than they do everybody else.
That
So
is the
you're
truth.
demanding respect in all areas, not just in relationship, as male and female, but you calling yourself a boss, but you're dressing out, watch what you're doing. You want to be in leadership, you have to carry yourself like a leader.
Mm-hmm.
All day.
And make them respect you. That's the thing.
Make
If
them.
they decide not to
Yeah.
respect you, you will. I told my daughters, you make them respect you, or they have no access to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a fact for sure.
And when you walk in a manner of integrity and confidence, you will exude that energy that leads to the respect. You don't have to do anything. You
No
just be.
face.
You're
Yeah.
just going to be, and
Mhm.
and it'll just be an innate response to you showing up in your full capacity, in the full energy, God-given energy that you've been given. When you show up full and you don't show up half full, you know,
Yeah.
literally when you walk in the room, it's irrefutable that it's like, oh, okay, you just command it because of how you come in. And that comes with that development of that child being developed at a very, very young age, both male and female, just being developed in that way. And it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Vincent, when you were growing up, what were some of the lessons that you learned as leadership when you were a child? What were some of the things that your family kind of instilled in you as a youth?
One of the things, especially my dad, is, and I can't use the colorful words that he would use when he would say this.
Come on,
Please don't.
Vincent,
Please
say
don't.
it.
No,
Don't
I'm
do
a
it.
PC. When
What
you
he
walk,
said, Vincent?
you walk into a room, you need to own it.
Just
I'm
say
gonna let
what
you
do you
say
say? What
that.
do you say? Tell me.
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Don't
But
hold back now.
let's just say when you walk into a room, you need to own that room. You need to
Yep.
walk with your presence. not with by words, but by action.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
The next thing, and Coffee, when I say this, you'll know where I'm coming from. I've been hearing the phrase differentiation since I was a kid from my parents. And they will say
Mm.
that he's telling you and we're exposing you this because we adjust our approaches to suit the needs for you. Just like developmental stages, you observe that from spending time. You know the
Yeah.
strengths and the weaknesses of not just your kids, your spouse too.
Mm-hmm.
Development. You
Yeah.
adjust the needs
Yeah.
at that time. And that's a big thing that's in leadership that I think a lot of leaders do not do. Yeah, it's cool to lead from the front, but at the same time, how are you at spur of the moment? How can you think on your feet? You got to adjust and break these things down depending on who you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important. That's one thing that my parents were fantastic at. They were teaching me high level principles and stuff early, but it was broke down so I can understand it. and
Period.
and kids, and I think a lot of the times with kids, they have, and this is created very young, where they have doubt, is because you don't empower them. Hey, you're this, like Jason said, they're his princesses, but he didn't raise them to be and have that mentality like everybody owes you something.
Correct.
Yeah.
And see,
Yeah.
that's where it
Yeah.
comes in. That's why
Yeah.
well, my dad, he stood on that. He said, when you walk into this room, you own it. Because people
Period.
are watching you from the time you come in, till you open your mouth, till the work that you give them. And
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
if they are not gonna give you your just due, your flowers and your worth, hey, guess what? You make them.
Period.
That's
Period.
true.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot. I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
So for all you parents out there, encourage your kids,
Yeah.
observe them, spend time with them, and just because they may not get it when you want them to, look at
Mm-hmm.
look at yourself. How's your delivery? Where are you falling short with? Helping them. Like you said, the leadership starts at home. And if the company, which is your household, is not functioning, then guess what? You need to readjust your approach.
Period.
Sure. Right.
It's so
You're
important
right about that.
more than ever because we have the internet. Children are getting on social media even younger than before. And if
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you don't program your children with the right tools and things that they need to be the respectable leader that you desire them to be, the internet will teach them who and how to be. So it's very important that we be intentional with what we are instilling in our children. And like we spoke about in another episode, it's not about telling them to do as I say and not as I do. It's learned behavior. If they see you a sloppy person who don't stand behind what they say, then they gonna be a sloppy person who don't stand behind what they say. And you
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
tell them to love themselves if you don't love yourself. You can't tell them to respect their body if they keep seeing you out here not respecting your body.
That's a
Amen.
Wow.
fact.
Just wild in the street. Just wow.
That's facts. That's all
It's
facts. And that's a very, very, very true statement in that um it's almost like it's a thing with children that I've noticed for a long time is that they mimic. They're going to mimic anything that they get exposed to.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
in their mimicking, you want to think to yourself, what is it that I really want them to actually mimic?
Mm-hmm.
If you really think about it, if somebody were to mirror your behavior and they go outside and do what you did behind closed doors, what would that really look like?
Yes.
It's so
And as a
true.
parent, you have to really think about that. Like, what would that really look like if somebody, I mean, because they
Mm-hmm.
basically are telling your story
That's
without you
true.
saying anything. They're telling
So
all
what
your
you
That
business.
is so true.
you
They
That
judge
is
literally
the
true.
telling all your business.
so you
Whether
judge the
we
tree,
whether we
not the
want them
fruit.
to or not is irrelevant, but they tell our business for sure.
That's
Absolutely.
what you're saying, Coffee. You judge the tree, not the fruit, right?
Facts. Facts. Yeah.
This
That's
brings up
very true.
another thing, Coffee, I was thinking about. Okay, everybody always talk about the good habits, but there are, if this makes sense, there are good bad habits.
And it would come an issue.
Right, because that was just
Mhm.
like, yeah,
You
yeah,
got to be
yeah,
good.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to be safe.
When he said
So
they
the
are good
Lord,
bad,
the devil didn't
they
want us to
said,
hear the Lord's message.
You know, want us to hear that was about to be good.
I
I
swear I
was
Right.
about to be like, what is he getting ready
okay.
to say right now?
Give
Hopefully,
me one example of a good bad habit. I just want to know. I just
I
need to
want
know.
to know what
Yes.
the heck that was gonna be all about. It's like this just went bleep, like immediately, like what? This man trying to
That is
tell us he trying to drop something on us, and you just cut the
he's
man
trying
off.
to give
What's
us
going
some
on?
truth.
What's really going on? But let me ask you, Shamika, what are some daily? No, 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 no. That's not even it.
Okay.
I like that. I know you deal with this, especially in the the non-profit sector, really helping to cultivate children. How do you balance letting them dream while disciplining them, teaching them discipline? What is
Yeah,
that
that's
balance
very
between that?
that's very, very important to me. I always tell my kids, like, I'm gonna allow you to be you,
Mhm,
but I am going to stand firm in making sure that you're you. So if you say you want to go and be a dentist, if you say you want to go and be a police officer, I am going to follow up in my action, encouragement, resources to you becoming everything that you said you're going to be.
mhm,
Because this was your dream. I did not say this is what you ought to be, but you
mhm,
said this is what you want to do. So
mhm,
I'm going to make sure that I
Mhm.
support you in those efforts.
mhm,
And it's very important because I don't think that anybody should just be, to me, that's controlling somebody's narrative, life, all of that. I want you to authentically be who you said you are. And once you find out, maybe it's not even who you are, but you'll learn that once you go out and touch that. Once you learn that, hey, maybe this is not for me, maybe this is something else. My son just recently had a change in school about his major, and he said, "You had told me a while ago what I should do, and I didn't think that I should do it until I actually did it." Because I'm
mm,
gonna allow you to be exactly who you say you want to be.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times people are chasing things because, again, like Depriya said, they've seen so much of the internet. They've seen, hey, you go and do this and you're gonna make this substantial amount, but you're not understanding that you got to start somewhere. You have to start at the bottom. You don't just blow up. You don't just go into a role and then you become this expert who's just amazingly great and you're making all this money. That's just not how it works. Let's be
mhm,
realistic.
mm,
But at the same time, I want you to be able to, because I don't want to stifle you. So I want you to be able to dream. I want you to be able to put, that I had tried this thing, it didn't work. So now let me see what it is I'm actually supposed to do. So
mhm,
dreaming is very, very important, but it's also important for us as parents to push, how to, if you're going to do this, you need to be the greatest at it. You need to be able to speak well. You need to be able to learn your craft. Don't just go in there and say, hey, I'm a doctor, and you go to school, to get that degree, and that's all the education you get. You need to become the expert that you say you are in that field, because guess
Mhm.
what? Somebody else teaching their child to be the best, and you're going to be in competition with them. So I'm making sure they're not just adding, you know, my voice or my opinion, but giving you the resources, the facts, what I know to be true in my field about certain things, just making sure you're going to be the best at what you say you're going to be. So it starts with, again, not just me talking about it, but being about it as well. When they see me handle business, when they see me talking what I need to talk, when they see me in meetings and rooms, they know exactly how to handle themselves, because not only do I provide a voice or lend a voice to something, I'm actually showing them in real time
Mhm.
how to conduct themselves.
I love it. Vincent, the good bad habit, and you just
Tell us.
blanked out.
That boy had to
Yeah,
go pay his internet
yeah,
bill real quick.
yeah,
He's back.
Oh
Welcome
my
back.
goodness. I
yeah.
was like, what are you
I
getting
don't
ready to
know.
say?
It
Because
it
like the
it
whole
it,
screen just like,
it booted me out. I don't know what happened. I'm like, what happened?
It just
We
keeps
need
yeah.
to know what is
It
one.
was about to be good. You got to share this
The Priya
detailed
wants to
Yeah,
know
what is
about
detailed
your
stuff.
good
what in
bad
the
habit.
world is the
Okay,
good bad habit? Real talk.
Dr. Harris had kind of touched on it because see, you have like you saying, we have to mimic what our kids need to see. The kids need to know what things to do to keep themselves going and out of trouble and to keep themselves successful. Sometimes bad habits are good. You never know. Like this, like some people may think it's a bad habit that you go and do this, you overexert yourself at when you work out, but that's a good habit for you to help you. Some
Okay, I see
people,
where you're going with
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
because
true.
some
Yeah.
people like, man, you work too hard. No, I work hard because I want my kids to see you need consistency, you need drive. So it's
Ooh.
all based on in the eye of the person who's seeing it. Kids need to see that. Dr. Harris just said this.
Out
She
here.
wants her kids to see how she conducts herself, how she acts in different environments. This is the standard, and you
Yeah.
need something good that you need to incorporate.
Hmm.
And that's what I was saying about the good bad habits. I know my sons, they see how I interact with people, especially when I'm standing on business with certain things. My whole
Ooh.
demeanor changed.
Come on with the standing on business. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
And on the
like,
business.
like,
Standing on
like,
business.
and
Standing on.
I've
Hey.
noticed it with both of them. They're doing it, and I sit back sometimes like a proud dad. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
because me
I like
growing up, and this is a chance for me to give my dad his flowers. He's no longer here. I used to give him slack when he would do this, when he would tote me with him. I wanted to be at home, playing basketball, watching TV, doing stuff like that. But he wanted to make sure that I knew these different things. And Dad, you looking down, I'm giving you your flowers. I appreciated everything that you did because
Yeah.
you were showing me what needs to be done. Me and Jason, we do a lot of things outside of the norm of what we normally do. Coffee, you know this to be true. The
I don't
only
know
way that we
nothing. I
learn
don't
He
this,
know
actually talks about me
nothing.
She
sometimes. He
said
tells
she
me to go
don't
sit
know
down
nothing.
sometimes too.
yeah,
I don't
you,
know
yeah.
nothing.
So these things that we do, we seen from parents and grandparents, uncles, and they wanted us to know these things. And some of these things is what made us the men we are today. Just as well as with our female panelists, our wonderful female panel. There are things that their parents taught them that made them who the women they are today. So
Hmm.
that's where I was going with the good, bad habit.
Well,
I
thank
like
you
it.
for clearing that up.
That
'Cause
was
I
good.
was going
One thing I thought about with the good bad habits, I started thinking like, man, that's right. One thing that we teach, not I'm not going to say we because I'm not a part of this, but one thing that I see a lot of people teach their children is to be quiet. Don't speak up. You just sit over here and you have nothing to say. But I tell my children to be very vocal. If
about.
something does not feel good to you, if something is not right to you, you speak up about it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And that gives them a voice. Don't be disrespectful in the way that you deliver what you're saying, but
Hmm.
it gives them a voice. They are then stronger in the ability to go and, like I say, shift a room. You demand attention, you demand respect, you demand these things because now when you go into a room, first of all, you need to learn what you're speaking of. So educate yourself in a manner if you need to, but
Hmm.
don't be timid because then when you're timid and people see that you're not strong in communicating or expressing yourself, they'll walk all over you
They
absolutely.
will.
Yep. Hmm.
And they'll take every opportunity
every
to
every
Hmm.
to degrade you in some way, shape, or form, for sure.
Hmm.
every
I want
time.
to
Yeah.
add
Every single opportunity.
good bad habit. One of my I don't know if it's a good bad habit, but one thing that I take pride in is being underestimated because
Ooh.
I think all of my life I've been underestimated. I've always been around people that are older than me, people who are in certain positions, who have went to school for XYZ, and I didn't in different time frames of my life I wasn't there, but I was always in these rooms with people who were already there, and I'm like, why am I in this room with this person? But it took me to understand that I'm supposed to be there. So
Yeah.
in these spaces, I educate myself. I'm always learning. I'm learning new things. I'm working on myself constantly. So being underestimated and over delivering and people being surprised by what I bring to the table it's a great feeling for me. So that's one thing that I teach my kids. Like, it's okay if they underestimate you. You just continue to be great in everything that you do. So when it's time to deliver, what can they say?
What? They have
Yeah.
nothing to say, but like, wow, they have nothing to say. Yeah, that's true.
So this is a really interesting question. And I kind of want you guys to kind of elaborate on it without necessarily divulging what actually transpired. But what is a time in your parenting journey that you had to apologize to your child for something you did, or you had to lead them through a mistake?
I mean, it's happened quite a few times. I mean, you know, I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. Sometimes I jump to conclusions, you know,
Mhm.
and get on their case and then find out that actually they did do something that I asked them to do. It just didn't look like it, or they were about to, or maybe their mom asked them to do something
Mhm.
that was a little bit more important at the time, and I'll just apologize. I mean, accountability goes a long way. So, I
Mhm.
mean, you know what? I tell my kids, I don't want them to ever think they can't make mistakes, because I personally feel that you can always fail your way to the top.
Absolutely.
You're
Because
such
I
a
tell,
own
and I even
parent.
say this at the job, like at times when they get on me at the job or something, or they start raising hell, I just tell them, I was like, well, if I was perfect, I guess my name would be Jesus and not Jason, right?
I mean,
You know what I'm
You
saying?
got Jesus
So,
hair, so I mean,
you know what I'm saying? So that's funny. I like that. But no, I mean, and, you know, I tell them, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Now, make educated decisions, but don't be afraid to make mistakes. And when I make mistakes, I will apologize for those too and be held accountable.
That's
mhm,
Mhm.
refreshing for a man to
Yeah.
say and to practice,
mhm,
That's
mhm,
refreshing. And for you to have daughters, that's showing them that men are capable of doing this. So don't get tricked into believing that it's not, it's not something that they can do. They can absolutely.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
while I'm
I'm
here.
not sure where you're going with that, Debris, but I'm gonna roll with you. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I'm
I felt like she threw a little shade at us, Vincent. I don't know where she going with that. I don't know. I'm gonna roll with her though.
gonna say this, and you know what? I'm gonna say this. Dupree's right. You have some men who will
You
not
do.
apologize. It's like
Correct.
pulling teeth.
Yeah. And it's like,
Mhm.
but you say you love me, you care about me, but you can't apologize to me when you do something,
And everybody knows it's wrong.
yeah,
Hmm.
Correct.
Everybody.
Yeah. But there
That's
are some
ego and
men.
pride right there.
Everybody
That
in
ain't
the
no
whole
man.
building
That's
know
a
it's
boy.
wrong.
Everybody.
That goes both. That is true, but it also goes both ways now.
Mhm.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
That's sure.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna just jump on us without going on the other side, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the reason I say this, somebody has to, and that's something that I pride myself on my boys. If I'm wrong, I apologize immediately.
Mhm,
I'm not too big. I'm masculine. Because if you think about it, how is that showing you so masculine because you can't apologize?
Yeah.
thank
That
mhm,
you.
don't make sense.
mhm,
You
It
don't know
does.
what you'll get
mhm,
when
Yeah,
you're
and see, that's another thing.
sensitive to that. You just don't understand.
I learned long time ago.
mhm.
You need to apologize sometimes because it comes with kickbacks.
Yeah.
Well,
It come back with some
yeah,
gifts for you.
yeah. You read it between the lines. It comes with kickback, and a lot of times our sisters just want to know that you understand.
Mhm,
Mm-hmm.
mhm, mhm,
You want to that you being heard.
mhm,
It's one thing to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, okay," but do you hear what I'm saying? That we hear that a lot.
mhm,
Did you hear where I was coming from? Why I was upset?
mhm,
So when you
Mhm.
apologize, you need to know why you're apologizing and for what reason, because you still can be disingenuous when you apologize,
Absolutely.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
and,
Facts.
Yeah.
and they'll read
Yeah.
right into it.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Facts.
Piggybacking off of Jason, though, that's beautiful that you're able to apologize because children, and I can attest to just my upbringing in the household of my mother. Apology? What you mean apology? And then with she said having a voice. What you mean a voice? They say children
Right.
are supposed to be seen, not heard. And with my children, we don't practice those toxic ways of life because You have to grow into a respectable leader in this world. And if you're not able to communicate effectively, if you're not able to express how you feel effectively in a healthy way, and also apologize when you're wrong, what's going on?
What is going on?
No.
That apology is important. I looked at there's a podcast, man, where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar apologized to Shaq. And when you heard Shaq talk about why he was upset with Kareem, because he said that he never validated him or he really never seen it. He would ignore him. And you could tell from when Shaq was talking, it really bothered him. And Kareem apologized to him. This was on a public forum. That, you know, I'm for you. I'm sorry if you felt that way. It was never meant that way. I'm one of your biggest fans, man. I love what you do. And you could have seen Shaq tried to kind of, you know, control that he was happy about it, but you could see the relief. But the two men apologizing, and this was in public. It was beautiful. It was cool to see.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where that comes in, Vincent.
Huh? What do you mean? I'm just
She on
showing
you.
that. No, I'm just saying that there are men that will apologize, and I use them big names.
Oh, okay, all right. I was just trying to figure out. I was like, is Kareem Shaq daddy or something? What's going on?
No, but you know, you talking about a heavy hitter in the basketball world. Yeah, man. Yeah.
You see, I'm just over here shaking my head. I'm just like,
that was a good listen. That was a great time to give a good joke. Y'all know that was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, why should do you like that, Vincent? Why should do you like that?
Hey, like I said,
Vincent, I'm over here shaking. Vincent, that was a very good example, Vincent. Good job, sir. You know, Koffe is over there coffeeing right now.
I am for what's right for both sides. I ain't for no country that is male or female. I'm gonna go even.
Period.
I don't rock like that. It's black or white with me. It's no gray. And I ain't talking about the gray on my shirt.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you, when it comes to creating certain boundaries for your children that you know would add value to them down the line, what are some solid steps that you take to do that without them knowing that's what you're doing? Shamika, we'll start with you.
That's good. Oh,
without them knowing,
that's one thing, because y'all, I'm so just straight up with my kids. I'm gonna tell you, my kids be like, this lady is.
That's the best way you can be, straight up, blunt, and
every conversation ain't a comfortable one.
And give them example. Lay it straight to them, because if you sugarcoat it in their mind, you lying to me.
Exactly.
That's exactly how
they can't trust you if they feel like, oh, you just trying to make me do something just to get. No, I'm gonna tell you the real. And it just boundaries. You know, of course, you respect everyone. But I just let these kids be. You know, they're young adults, so I really got to give it to them in a whole nother way. Like they up here, they out in school, they working, they doing their own things. And as much as I want to, you know, make choices and decisions for them, I gotta let them go out and do it. I need to let them figure it out. Now I give my opinion here and there, hey, tweak this or that, but it's not really. I probably need to create some boundaries for this 10-year-old, but them other ones,
that's
this
funny.
real life out here.
That is funny. I will tell you this. I was I learned to be very creative with it. So I would say to myself, how I still want a specific result for some things, right? We as parents, we want a specific result for some things. So what I would do is I would give them options that would give me the desired outcome that I wanted in the first place.
That part.
That's good. That's good.
And they didn't know they was being led. I mean, like my son and I talked about this about a month ago. He was like,
man, that's called slick manipulation.
He was like, wait a minute.
So you were puppeteering them.
No, it wasn't puppeteering. It was that I wanted to lead them in a specific direction. And when you give anybody options,
yes,
they think they're making their own choice.
They think they are making their own choice.
But you control the option.
That's what I'm saying.
They
But
don't.
if you think in your mind that you made
Yeah.
the choice, I'm still going. I still made it to where it would be beneficial for the greater good of them.
Yeah.
That was the ultimate goal in mind. This is for the greater good of you. So I'm giving you the options to choose from, and regardless of which option or which path you choose to take, it's going to be for your greater good, and it's still going to give me that result that I wanted in the first place, which was to get you to go right instead of left.
Man.
Period.
Yeah.
Because
Without
it's
having to
And the
kiss them
only thing
hands
that I
first.
said
yeah,
as about it was
Well,
everybody got to
that
go to
sound
school. Everybody
like-
going to
right,
school.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like when I was a teacher. Seriously, when I had
Yeah.
students that were challenged with certain content or whatever, I would give them options that I knew would still get them across that finish line, because nobody was going to
Yeah.
fail in my class. Period. It wasn't, nobody was
Yeah.
going to
So,
fail under no circumstances. You will not get a failing grade in my classroom. That's not going to happen. The only way you're gonna get a failing class in my grade in my classroom is if you don't show up for class. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I went out of my way to be certain that my children, my students that had, more of that edginess about them, personality wise, that I still was able to reel them in,
That's what
reel
we
them
call
in.
edginess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some children are very edgy. I mean, you can see it from birth. I have over 50 something nieces and nephews, and I can tell you by name which ones was like the ones that were the most chaotic became the most productive as far as with
Yeah.
their hands. Like some of
Very
them
true.
are fantastic at, certain,
Mhm.
like one of my nephews is a master plumber. He only 22, but he was like a force to be reckoned with. He had massive edge as a kid, but he needed to channel that energy, and he used his hands to do it. I have another niece that went on to, she has a whole art gallery. Like this girl is 24, maybe 25, and she's been
So he
sought
was.
after, and she was always sneaky. She's always sneaking to do something. I was like, oh, that little sneakiness can be used for the good. Like, let's find out where your creative edge is,
Mm-hmm.
and start steering them in that direction. And it comes with, understanding that this is a reflection of me. Jim Rohn said something that was very powerful. He said, look at the seat that you're sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You think you're the CEO, but you're really not. They are.
Right.
You're just sitting in that seat for right this moment. So
Yeah.
while you're sitting in that seat, what are you going to do to empower them to take, control of the kingdom? I just need to know what you're doing. Like, what in the world are you doing for them to take control of the kingdom? And you just have to think about that when you're dealing with children, because children are not created equally. We know that.
Yeah.
We got some children that are just straight razors. You say A, they say okay, yeah, and you just don't have any challenges with them. Then you have the other children who, like I said, they have that edginess, and then you have some children that are just massive risk takers. And those children are the ones that go on to be multi millionaires. They don't care. They just push the envelope as far as it'll go.
Yeah.
But as a parent, we have to know how to deal with
Challenge
that
them and guide them.
adversity, because it's gonna be some adversity in dealing with that. It's
Yeah.
gonna be some heavy opposition dealing with a child like that. Period.
Mhm.
Some heavy opposition.
I have
So,
one of those kids, baby. She pushes it to
oh,
the
absolutely.
limit.
And those are the ones, I mean,
She just needs a holy hug.
Yeah. Holy
A
hand.
very tight, holy hug.
you
Sometimes it
know,
might accidentally be around the neck, but I'm just saying, a
man,
holy
I mean,
hug.
seriously, I mean, I had one student, like, this dude was so brilliant. He used to get on my nerves because he was so smart, and he was so quiet. Like, he was quiet and like in his own lane. And I was like, dude, do you realize you 22 minutes late for class? Oh, Miss Brown, let me explain to you what happened. And the
Now, hold
minute
on.
when he went to that, y'all already know. Miss Brown was not having it. I was like, you gonna try to explain your way out of this? Is that what we doing?
She was creative.
What happened, Miss Brown, is, and he would have he have it all mapped out how, and I said, well, so what were you really doing?
Yeah,
And come to
Vincent and I,
find
we got
out,
a buddy that he will try to explain his way out of
oh my God.
even
But
when
come to
he's
find
right,
out,
he'll try to explain his way out of it. And it's
Yeah.
just like, bruh.
this boy was
Now,
so analytical, y'all, to the point where he was a master trader at 17, y'all.
Wow.
17. And he was like, Miss Brown, the market is open right now. If I don't do this trade right now, then I'm not going to be able to earn my income for the week. I was like, for the week? What are you talking about? You're 17. What are you talking about?
Now,
But he just had that business brain. And I was just looking at him like, okay, let's, and again, like I said, nobody gonna fail my class, right? But if you 22 minutes late and we only got an hour, come on, man. You didn't miss the whole kit and caboodle of what you're supposed to be doing. So I made an agreement with him. I said, I tell you what, if you do this or this, I gave him two options, do this or that, because it's still gonna get me the result that I'm after, then you can do what you gotta do. Oh, really? Okay. So every day, but before he got to my class, guess what? His assignment was already done. Hey, Miss Brown. So you just walk in.
So basically the barter system.
I still got the result I wanted.
No, I'm saying the barter system. That's awesome.
Yeah, he earned the A. And that's the whole point. You know, like when it comes to children, that's a big thing. When y'all were talking about it earlier, they gotta have options. They gotta be able to make healthy decisions and stay within the parameters of the options they've been given, because the world system has parameters.
Yeah.
Whether we want to have them or not.
You also have to find a way to give them a sense of completion. Everybody needs that, but especially kids. Because if your goal for your kid is so big, or your assignment for your kid is so big that it's going to take them a very, very, very long time to complete it, break it down into smaller pieces so they can get that good sense of completion. And that's what's going to keep them going to that way they finish all of their tasks.
Yeah.
And that helps us. Doesn't it feel you?
Yeah.
And that goes for adults as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what is it? What is it? The elephant concept where they talk about, you just gotta take small bites.
Yeah.
Small bites. And one, man, I wanted to get into this, but we're not even gonna have time to do it. But I really wanted to talk about identifying your child's strengths and areas of improvement. How do you identify it while they're young, like before they turn 7, their strengths and their areas of improvement? How do you identify that? Let's close with that. We got about 4 more minutes.
So you saying
let's
their
close with
gifts?
that. How do you identify those areas of strengths and areas of improvement before they get 7? Like you see certain things that they're amazing at, and other things that you just know that they're gonna have to work on in order to get over that hump.
Well,
Yeah, my son is my baby boy. I say he's like my genius. Like he gets everything, like everything. I call him sometimes for my work stuff because he just gets everything. But his issue is he knows certain things. So he has this kind of arrogance about him, like, hey, pipe down, sir. Of course you want to be great, but I don't want you to be arrogant. You are supposed to be confident, but not arrogant. So you have to learn how to make it to where people love to hear what you have to say, opposed to when you come in a room, people want to scatter. Even though you have all of the information, you want people to still be engaged and to learn from you. You don't want to run people off with that sense of arrogance. But he is literally like he's a genius. And I'm always telling him, you need to go into engineering or something. But you gotta get, like you said, give them little options, let them dream, let them do their thing. But yeah, I think it's our job to see what our kids are great at in areas and where they're weak, and kind of encourage them to build in those areas. It's our job to do that. All of my kids, I've told them what I feel like they would be great at, no matter what area they go in. But it's up to them to kind of lean into those things and figure out if that's really, what because I call it is, if I can see, I think parents should see even the calling on your kids' life. You should see their area where they're going to thrive if they tap into it. So, yeah, but my son, yeah, he really a genius, but boy, you start talking to him and want to punch him. Cause
my Lord.
My
my
my 5 this year she have gone through a lot of transformation and she's seeing her own growth. So me identifying her strengths in some areas she can improve in. Some of her strengths is she pay attention to detail and she could catch on really fast. She learned very well. Even when you don't think she's paying attention, she's observing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the area she needs work in is slowing down. She's very fast paced. She's very go, go, go. So I practice with her slowing down when she speaks, slowing down when she's doing something and focusing on one thing at a time. And these things has been it's been so amazing to watch. And I
Yeah.
think that when your child get in this stage of the fives and the six and right before the seven, when their teeth start falling out and when they're paying attention to every detail about themselves and every detail about you, that's when it's important to really lock in and zone in on their programming because more of it starts spilling out of them.
Period. 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 Well, listen, everybody, this has been an amazing, amazing show on tonight. Super dope shares, always super dope shares. And we're so excited about just the round 2 of this amazing discussion that we're going to be having on our next show. But listen, leadership, remember this. Developing leaders starts in the living room, not in the boardroom. It's the people that you are leading every single day that call you mom or dad, whoever you are entrusted to care for. You're making a massive impact. How is that impact going to play out? Tune in next time, and we will talk more about it on the next edition of the P. Coffee Brown Show. Until then, grace and peace be unto you and your household. We're excited that you stopped by to connect with us. And remember, always love yourself, but love somebody else too. Do something nice for somebody. Be kind to people. All right. We'll see you all next time. Grace and peace.
Bye.